Well, it looks like both Phillip Schofield and Huw Edwards are going to get away with absolutely everything completely and utterly scot-free, well apart from getting the elbow from their cushy jobs. The much-anticipated findings of the independent inquiry into the Phillip Schofield scandal are reportedly now unlikely to be published this year. And in the case of Huw Edwards, who is apparently furious, following recent reports that he will not be returning to the BBC. More on that later. It looks like we'll never find out any further details about Huw's alleged payments for images, either. Unbelievably, it's been said that any result from his investigation will not be publicly released. Brilliant. Just brilliant. Everything neatly swept away under the carpet, never to see the light of day again. And they wonder why people are getting more and more disillusioned by the day with the, let's face it, corrupt TV industry. In fact, one would be forgiven for thinking ITV is becoming more like the BBC by the day. Everything covered up and neatly filed away. Yes, the BBC are rather good at that, aren't they? The Phillip Schofield inquiry results were initially due to be published in September. Then, at the 11th hour, came the revelation that Eamon Holmes and Ruth Langsford hadn't even been questioned, and rumors were circulating that you'd be hard-pushed to find anyone on the set of This Morning that had. Then, snippets of information started trickling through, that the inquiry would be at the end of the year. That went on for a few weeks, and now we have the news that it's unlikely that it'll be published this year. Clever, aren't they? Drip, drip, drip feeding information in the hope that everything will die down and then they'll slip in the results when no one's looking. Sounds like a game plan to us. Do you know what we think is going on here? We think the inquiry into Phillip Schofield is going the same route as the Huw Edwards inquiry. They are waiting for public interest in Phillip Schofield to sufficiently die down, but the media have made it rather complicated, because over the last few months, they have been publishing anything and everything they can get their hands on about Phillip Schofield, keeping him firmly in the public eye. And yes, so has Blinkerhole, but we are reacting to what they report. The same could not be said for Huw. There has been no new information for months in the media about him, which, we suspect, is the reason why his results have been published now, when interest has waned. The Phillip Schofield scandal is still too hot to publish the inquiry findings now, in our opinion. They'll be published next year, most likely when Phillip Schofield hasn't shown his face for quite some time. Will we get any juicy details? No, probably not. Apparently the disgraced former This Morning presenter has been in contact with the barrister leading the investigation. But insiders say the outcome will not be known for several more months. Yes, we bet it won't. If ever. ITV brought in Jane Mulcahy KC in May, amid allegations of a toxic workplace, to look into how the channel handled Schofield's alleged affair with a younger runner and his This Morning exit. A source previously said, he has fully cooperated with the investigation and communicated with the barrister. Bosses are keen to publish her findings so staff can put a difficult year behind them. However, if Jane finishes her review this side of Christmas, that would be very quick. And then we have Huw Edwards, who magically and very conveniently fell off the face of the earth, sending his wife out to do his dirty work for him. Sorry if we are offending anyone who believes that he all of a sudden had a mental health episode when he was caught out, but seriously, it was absolute baloney, in our opinion, and makes a mockery of true sufferers of the dreadful illness. There, we said it. And if we remember rightly, reports at the time said Huw was angry when the S hit the fan, and it looks like there's no change there, with new reports suggesting his anger has turned into fury. Former BBC chief political correspondent, John Sargent, has said that his friend Huw is very cross with his treatment by the BBC after he left the corporation following an investigation into claims that he paid a teenager thousands of pounds for explicit images. Before he was suspended in July, the former BBC News presenter was among the highest paid journalists there, with a salary of between £435,000 and £440,000 a year. Wow, no wonder he's hacked off, with sums like that no longer landing in his back pocket. We bet furious Huw is an absolute nightmare to live with at this moment in time. We can just imagine him now, stomping around his living room while he watches BBC News, throwing his toys at the television. Anyway, appearing on GB News, Huw's friend, John Sargent, spoke about the scandal that engulfed the now former presenter, and said that after speaking to people close to Huw, in other words, Huw himself, in our opinion, they have said how upset by the whole affair Huw was, and in particularly, How he was treated by the Beeb after the news broke about the claims. Police are said to have investigated the allegations, but found no evidence of criminal wrongdoing. Oh, what a shocker. John continued. I've heard from some people that he's just very cross. He is very honest about the way he's treated, very cross about what's happened. But I mean, the overall result is just so sad. It is one of personal sadness and regret because he was an extremely talented man. I knew him in all these different guises and this is devastating. In his appearance on Patrick Christie's Tonight, John added, I sort of came in at the time just thinking that he needed more time and it was just so personally upsetting. I knew him, we were both political correspondents together so we go back a very long way. I was so surprised when these reports came out. I thought, it's not the Huw that I know. John also spoke about how the publicity surrounding Huw would have affected his standing with the public. He said, you then get to a position where when you've had this amount of publicity, bad publicity, every program of any sort is going to ask, well, how will the public relate to this person? Will they relate to him the same way as they used to? And the answer is, they won't. Huw's departure from the BBC has also been commented on by insiders, who claim to have knowledge of the chats Huw Edwards had with Beeb bosses. One said, we understand Huw is not coming back, and a newsroom insider said, the review is in, and unfortunately there isn't a path back for Huw. There is no expectation he will return. It is understood that talks are being conducted by Edwards' lawyers and the BBC, and, as we mentioned earlier in this video, any result from an investigation will not be publicly released. Huw denies all allegations against him and, as reported, claims he wants to make clear he did nothing illegal. Righty-ho then, it looks like the opinion of Huw's friend and Huw's own say-so is all we're going to get on the matter. Do we believe him? We couldn't possibly comment. So, that's it then. Both Huw Edwards and Phillip Schofield, gone from our screens, but certainly not forgotten. But, according to Miriam Margolyes, it's all our fault. Yes, you heard correctly, us, the public, or tower block traces as these telefolk like to call us. It's not Phillip and Huw's fault, it's ours. Unbelievable. Yes, outspoken Miriam has spoken out, blaming the entire hoo-ha on an apparent, venomous reaction by the public to the Phillip Schofield's affair scandal. Speaking in a new interview, Miriam, 82, told Mail Online she believed the public's reaction to Phillip's affair with a younger colleague was too quick, too venomous, too damaging. I think cancel culture is rubbish. People will probably want to cancel me, but they haven't so far, Miriam added. As much as we admire Miriam for her bluntness and say it like it is attitude, on this one, blaming the public, no, we believe she is in the wrong. The public reacts to the information they are presented with. That information comes from the newspapers that we read and the television that we watch. Who can forget the media tucking into the Schofield scandal like a rat on a bit of cheese? Headline after headline of shocking revelations. But, ultimately, if Phillip Schofield, and indeed, Huw Edwards hadn't embroiled themselves in dubious activities in the first place, then none of this would be happening, and we wouldn't be making this video. So, Miriam, we believe you're wrong. The reaction by the public is ultimately, in our opinion, not to blame. Please like and subscribe for more journeys through the Blinkerhole. For entertainment purposes only. Keep up to date with our latest investigations and hit the join button. If you like what we do, send us a super thanks. Official Blinkerhole merchandise is available in store.